Do fans hate this new mutant? Stick to the end to find out.
The Mutadon, Jurassic World's newest bioengineered species, finally being revealed in the last trailer for the upcoming Jurassic World Rebirth. We've got a lot to analyze and explore here. This hybrid may just be the craziest thing yet in the franchise. It's interesting to look at, and it is slightly controversial. So smack that like button and let us know your thoughts on the Mutadon so far in the comments. In this trailer, they didn't waste any time revealing the name for this new creature. Mutadon is a bit on the nose, being a mutant hybrid who's got Pteranodon DNA, so you name it Mutadon. Seems a little too simple, right? But perhaps there's more to it. This is purely speculation, but the letter R after Mutadon doesn't mean that this is the raptor variant of a crazy concoction of animal genomes with the base species being the Pteranodon. We do know that the Mutadon is supposedly mostly Pteranodon and raptor DNA after all. It's a bit of a stretch, right? But with this franchise, you just never know. What do you think the R stands for here? In the tube, just like the raptor from the first trailer, the specimen appears to have two heads. And now it's got what looks like a third arm coming directly from its core. This really adds to the offsetting energy the entire creation of this mutant brings. The bizarre nature of this Mutadon makes you wonder what the intentions for it were, with InGen and the rest of the lore. We'll get to more on that later once we see the beast in action. Now in full sight and very much alive, we can analyze the Mutadon. First off, I know what some of you are thinking, this doesn't look very Jurassic at all, and that's because you are right. Whether that's bad or good is up to you though. Long raptor-like legs extend from the ground, connecting to a rather large and broad torso region. Extending out with ferocity from this torso, winged arms reach out in a display of aggression and intimidation. Focusing on the wings, it's pretty clear that this animal shouldn't be able to fly. The wings are much too small to sustain flight for such a large individual, but they could be used to help with steep falls or for clearing vast distances, catching the wind for a moment under its wings and gliding smoothly. My personal take is that the wings are used for attacking prey, and I'll explain why as we press forward here. Quick observation, the dark tiger-like stripes on the limbs adds to the wild design of the Mutadon. It could be useful for camouflage if you want to look at this realistically, but we might just have to chalk this one up to another purely aesthetic decision. As the Mutadon roars, let's look at its head. It's got a thick cranial area, which we see later on why this is important. The thicker top of the skull allows the beast to ram hard objects with its head and not give itself too much damage in the process. As the skull reaches out to its jaws, a strange thing happens. Its snout turns into a beak. This is due to the pterosaur DNA, no doubt. Let's move on to a side view angle of the Mutadon. Once again, never has a Jurassic film had a creature like this. We see the raptor legs with the sickle claw, and you can see the wing-like membrane glowing as light passes through it. And the rest of this thing is just pure mutant. The large osteoderms or knobs there on the spine only further detail that this thing is the kitchen sink of mutant hybrids. In this shot, we're able to see that the creature has a similar type of coloration to aquatic life, with a lighter underbelly and a darker back. Once again, this could have been made to help make this mutant an even deadlier weapon, or just because it looks cool. And this right here is why the thick skull makes sense. Now, take a look at the Mutadon's neck. The saggy, oversized look to its throat can mean only one thing. The Mutadon is able to swallow uber hunks of meat or prey whole, like a pelican or many birds for that matter. As this individual attacks Scarlett's character Zora, we finally get a good shot at the size of this thing. Using the gas pumps, large truck, and Scarlett for reference, I guesstimate the Mutadon to be roughly 6 feet, around 2 meters tall at the hip, rearing up to around 10 feet give or take. Lengthwise, I think this thing's around 20 feet or roughly 7 meters. Judging by how hard it hit the truck and how much the thing moved, this Mutadon would have to weigh up to around a ton. Once again, these are all just guesses. Regardless, those are some good doors there. So here's when I believe the true purpose of the wings comes into sight. As Scarlett runs away, the Mutadon extends its arms and hands outward in a way that reminds me of how some birds act when they get aggressive or they're hunting on the ground. By doing this, it firstly makes the hunter even more larger and threatening. And if it was able to bite onto its prey, the arms and wings appear to be able to rush forward, grabbing the victim and securing it behind a wall of flesh. If the arms of the Mutadon were used in a traditional sense, like the Velociraptor for example, there would be little need to reach them outward like this. And we see just how muscular these limbs are, meaning they are certainly capable of gripping onto surfaces or prey, and that they're used a lot. So why did InGen make these things? Sure, it's a movie, and you can always use that as an explanation for anything too wild to comprehend, but in the lore, this is how I would perceive it. In Jurassic World, we saw firsthand how the raptors were being developed into a military weapons system. What if the Mutadons were another step in that direction? Maybe the simple wings would allow for them to be dropped down safely from helicopters like special forces into target areas. All of this makes for a very cool daydreaming session, but even now, it does seem a little bit over the top. More than likely, just like the T-Rex, the Mutadons were a case of f***ing around and finding out. Now, does this Mutadon belong in Jurassic? So far, I haven't seen too many criticisms for the mutant, but there's no denying that it's the most outlandish mutant design yet. Even the T-Rex feels more in line with Jurassic's design aesthetic more than this, and I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. Look, I don't want this to turn into the next Jurassic movie having a hybrid wars-like scenario, but I don't hate the idea and design. It does feel like it comes from a different universe altogether though, so I know some fans are going to have a harder time accepting the Mutadon.
Hey, before you go, Jacob, let me just go over what the community thinks about this, because there's been quite a mixed reception regarding the Mutadons specifically. People have been able to excuse the D-Rex as a misshapen T-Rex specimen, but when it comes down to the Mutadon, it's a lot harder to argue that this was some genetic malformation. Because to me, this just looks like a straight-up hybrid. Well, we ran a poll over on our Dangerville Twitter to see what you guys thought of it, and at least from that focus group, an overwhelming number of you said you liked it, with only a few people outright hating it. But for as many people that liked it, there are just as many people who are skeptical, saying that they're waiting to see more before making their minds up. Not outright hating it, but are yet to be convinced that this thing belongs in the Jurassic franchise. This is pretty much the outcome I expected. People hated the idea of the D-Rex as well, until we saw how Gareth Edwards presented it, making it look terrifying, but also tragic. So depending on the presentation, he could very well make these work. Personally, I love it. It looks like something Stan Winston would have conjured up. So to me, it fits the series, at least aesthetically. I'm still hoping they have a good explanation as to why these exist, without it being just a straight-up hybrid, which I thought we were past now. And before I go, here's some of your comments on whether you liked it or disliked the Mutadon. Check it out to see if you made the list, and be sure to follow us over on Twitter at DangervilleTeam. I've been Alistair, peace out.
And that's what we got on the Mutadon so far. Obviously, when the movie comes out, we'll delve more into this new mutant creature, but for now, this is what we got. Make sure to give the video a like if you had a good time. This has been Jacob, and I'll see ya in the next one.